What's good, Wagering World? It's your boy Five Star in Vegas, broadcasting live as always from beautiful Summerlin, Nevada. This is the Wagering World. I'm in here with my two co-hosts. First, the OG of the show, the only Sacramento Kings fan that I know. What's good, Spread Astaire? How are you?
Man, I'm excited. We got a great bunch of basketball this weekend, and we were just talking. This is the time that college basketball is going to take center stage here as we get ready for these conference tournaments and then, of course, the NCAA tournament. So I can't wait to hear us break down these games today.
And also, we got my little brother in here, the youngest man to ever run a casino sports book on the Las Vegas Strip, Sino Royale. What it do?
Wow, what's good, Wagering World? Shout out to all them casino properties, by the way, for letting a young brother like myself get up in there and handle the books and see and learn all the things I did. But coming off a raw play winner, shout out to the Rockies, man. They did what they had to do. Five. What we got today?
Man, about to blast off. So, guys, we're about to change up the format. It's always us versus the machine. Y'all hit that like button. And it cannot be us versus the machine if you guys aren't getting to the plays. Unfortunately, with our new schedule, we're having to start a little bit later now. Spread had some adjustments with everything what he's doing. I had some adjustments. Sino had some adjustments. So we still have families and households to take care of as grown men. But we want to make sure that all of you guys get the winners. With that said, we got to do some in-game adjustments, man. We're going to start doing the games the next day. Now, in some situations like the NBA that both my guys are experts in, we will not have a line for Saturday. So we might talk out a couple of the games. But if we don't have the line, we can't give you any info on it. But we will have a lot of these college basketball games on Saturday, on Fridays that'll really be good for us to talk about, especially with the conference tournaments coming up. We got the NCAAs coming up. We got a new tournament that's coming up. I'm really wondering, and we'll talk about that more in the season. How is this new tournament in Las Vegas that they're going to do with like all the conference winners going to affect these kids when they go play March Madness right after that? Like, it's a big money tournament that they're going to start for the first year this year in Vegas. So I'm really interested to see, as we notice now with all this NIL and things, that college sports is really becoming semi-pro right now. And my guys are going to really help me start breaking down this college basketball. So you guys be patient with us. The show now is going to work like this. We'll get it up in the evening. We won't disturb you while you're watching your games. After your games, tune in to us late night or first thing in the morning, and you'll be able to get the plays for that following evening. So it's no rush, it's no stress. We have to do that because it's always us versus the machine. Cino, we're about to go up, right?
Most definitely. That's the only way we can go.
Can't never go down.
Right? It's the
Let's
Wagering
get
World.
straight to the past, man. We had a pretty good show last show, but unfortunately, a lot of people didn't catch the plays because we had some malfunctions. For some reason, my computer, like, I had some things to do, so I left the house. I was uploading the show after I got through adding the music and things like that, and I'm just checking my phone, like, why hasn't the show popped up? Why I come home 4 hours later, it still had actually it stopped. So that's some of the things we're dealing with when you're independent. Let's get to the pass, Fred.
All right, first game on the docket. Let's talk about Michigan State, who traveled to Maryland. Michigan State won on the money line. Half-court shot. What'd you see in that one, Five Star?
Man, that was a really good game. As I told you, got to take the Spartans anytime you can get points with them right now. They're a real threat to win it all. Really deep team. You already know that Coach Izzo is a really great coach, man. He's going to have those guys ready to play. Now he's getting the talent that he had back in the game when he had the Flintstones and guys like that. They had a little period where they kind of went down, and Michigan was getting more of the talent in that area. But now Michigan State has came back again. Just a really close game all of the way. It was a 2-point lead for Maryland at halftime. Then you see a spurt by the Spartans where they really turned up on the defensive side. And they've been doing it all year. The second half of games, they've been really good at being able to lock teams down. Big game from Jason Richardson, his son, Jace Richardson, left-handed kid, really confident. But they have a lot of really confident guys on that team, and they got it done, man. And the greatest thing about this game was that through all the battles, through all the fights, we ended up on the right side, because at the end when Maryland made that blitz and all of the money that was on Michigan State with the market. I thought that we was in a tough situation. I feel like if we'd have went to overtime, we'd have probably lost that game. But it works out for us perfectly as we get the cover and we get the money line. As Trey Holloman hits a miracle for Michigan State, broke my guy SVP's heart as Scott Van Pelt is a Maryland Terp, and he was at the game, man.
What did you see in that one, Sino?
Crazy game. You had the other side. I feel bad for you, but Michigan State rolling right now. What that's 23-5. They 14-3 in the Big Ten, 4 straight wins, and they beat Maryland 7 times in a row. That's the Terps' only second L at home, so you can't be too mad about that. Bad beat.
5-star. Sometimes this stuff feels too easy. Old Miss and Auburn was one of them, right? I wish we could have more like that, right? That was a fairly easy. We took the first half there. How much did you watch? Did you have some takeaways from that one?
Yeah, I watched it a little bit. I was not surprised at all that Auburn got on their head. I actually had to go sweat another game that was a lot more closer that I was watching. It was a mid-major game that I was on my own on. And I was watching that one kind of on the phone and more locked in, and I had on the TV the Auburn and Ole Miss. And every time I looked up, Auburn was, hitting the bucket and the crowd was going crazy. 50 points in the first half by Auburn, 56 in the second half. They really dogged Ole Miss. Ole Miss made a little push at the end of the half. They were down like 30 at the beginning of the game. They ended up getting it to 10 right before the half, but we had the 7. So easy cash for us. As we continue to move forward, man, you see two teams going opposite directions. Ole Miss is starting to look more like an NIT team than an NCAA team, and Auburn is looking like one of the top 2 or 3 teams in the whole country. They continue their excellence. I'll continue betting them.
Sino, did you watch that game? What do you think of Auburn this year?
I did. That 29-9 run was nuts. They came out blazing. They hit like most of their shots to start the game. I'm like, this is gonna be free money. Turn it off. Let's move on.
Hey, and one thing I think we got going now with this Big Ten. Next game we want to talk about, Ohio State down in LA. Very, very close game. Ohio State gets the win. What did you see in that one, 5-star?
I think that USC benefited from staying in LA from their loss to UCLA. That's one thing that I'll give the schedule coordinators for these Big Ten games. They are making it where most of the time, because I saw Michigan State do the same thing, that when they go to the West Coast, they don't have the kids flying right back. They'll set it up where their next game is maybe with USC or UCLA or vice versa in order to make the travel a little bit easier on the kids. Ohio State was due. They're a really solid team with a lot of talent. They hadn't played well, up and down game. We're going to start looking more to these overs. Overs have been really kicking ass in college basketball. It seems like all of the coaches now are playing more NBA style and up tempo, and it's really exciting because you get the tempo and the pace of the NBA, but you get more effort on defense every time. You get more strategy with the coaches calling more plays. So I really like college basketball right now. It's been a really good watch for me. I still enjoy it more than the NBA.
Yeah, maybe with that NIL money too, some of these players will start staying a little bit longer. Sino, what did you think of the Buckeyes win over the Trojans?
To be honest, free game from the wagering world, man. The people was down by 14 points at the half, right? And we always say that if we get by the side, they don't win the first half, they can begin the second half. And they definitely rallied back. Ohio State made a lot of free throws in that game, and it was hard for them, to just come back and get the win. Lost by 5 after being down by 14, but if you took them at the half, got you a win.
Yeah.
Let's move on to the NBA. The only 2 teams that were undefeated since the All-Star break were the Boston Celtics and the Detroit Pistons. After that game, only the Detroit Pistons have yet to lose since the All-Star break. Great win for the Pistons. The question for the panel is, are the Pistons for real? 5-star, what do you think?
Great call by both of you guys. You said Pistons are nothing for you. And Sino took the Pistons as well, said they were money line. So great call by you guys. You guys are really tapped into the NBA. It's what you guys do. Me looking at the number, I said the only thing I would play would be first quarter Boston, but I stepped away from that. I think I played just a 1% play on it because it's one of those things like with the Cougars. I got to play the first half every game. I got to play the Astros every game during the season because I know at the end of the year, I'm going to be ahead. Just, stick to your routine with that one. So a small loss, but we were able to get it back because I saw what was going on. And I took the Pistons second half, relied on you guys, what you told me. Remember what we talked about on the show. Pistons are just playing with a whole bunch of confidence, man. JB Bickerstaff is doing a really good job of making these kids play hard every night, man, just like he did with Cleveland, just like he did with Houston. And now you're seeing all of that talent that they accumulated through these draft picks showing up. And then you got guys like Oscar Thompson, who's a top draft pick, who doesn't even care about scoring. He's just worried about shutting people down, playing defense. The Thompson twins, you could tell that their parenting was outstanding. And I saw a video when they were kind of covering them. Remember, they had the show on Netflix that kind of covered that league that they were in, the G League that they won. And I remember the thing that stood out to me about the Thompson twins where they had their parents and their grandparents were there. And they all were these like stoic, really solid people. And I'm like, that's why these kids are like that. And they're far beyond their years and wisdom because Oscar could be really taking more shots. He was a scorer his whole life. He was much more of a scorer than Amin was. Amin's always been an assist guy up and down the court, but Oscar took a step back with the Pistons, and he's still contributing so much. Played 27 minutes. So, man, the Pistons and the Rockets are two teams to watch, man. We're going to remember that draft when the Rockets took Jalen Green and the Pistons took Cade Cunningham as times where these franchises both kind of made their pivot and went back to the teams that we grew up watching, with the Pistons and Rockets being really good franchises. Exciting game. Celtics not worried about it. We know the Celtics are being added at the end of the year, but it has to be really refreshing for Detroit fans. I'm sure they celebrated.
Yeah, and I think it was fun, and of course, congratulations, Justin, on getting that victory. However, I'm not ready to take too much into that victory. I think that game meant a lot more to the Pistons than it did to the Celtics. And the Celtics, as good as they are and as great as they can be, they're definitely prone to bouts of inconsistency and not always going out there and giving the effort they need. But what do you think? What did you take away from that game?
Oh man, that game was crazy. Pistons dominated in the paint. They scored 62 points. Malik Beasley, he made his case for NBA Sixth Man of the Year. He had the team high at 26. He went crazy from the three-point range. And like I tell y'all all the time, if the train is going a million miles per hour, do not jump in front of it. Prime example again tonight. This Pistons team is really going to show you guys they can be championship teams. They play a championship team tonight, the Denver Nuggets. Another good play, Pistons tonight. Pistons money line at home.
All right. Next game we want to talk about. Okay, I didn't see this one. The Thunder took on the Nets. The Nets covered in that game, but they were catching 17.5 at home. For me, those are always dog or pass. I didn't play it, but not surprising that Oklahoma City was in New York and completely looked past a Brooklyn team and didn't feel the need to blow them out. What did you think of that one, 5-star?
That was my biggest play of the night. I remember Sino said it was going to be a blowout, and I told him the Nets have been playing really good, man. They are really scrappy. Everyone in their starting five had over 16 points. You don't see that type of production from starters because they got a bunch of kids that's hungry. And Cam Johnson is like the leader of the team, but they all kind of play like him with just effort, two-way. And even though they don't win a lot of games, 21 games is pretty good with this roster. They're not the worst team in the league. They give a lot of effort for their fans, man. They put on a really good show. Bunch of young kids out there that are hooping their tails off, and they keep it within the number. Not only do they keep it within the number, they money line the first half. So if anyone had the cojones to take the Nets first half money line plus 10 at that plus 300, you ate. And believe me, there's some guys out here to watch this show who move like that and do like that. I don't know if they put enough units up, but man, it was an easy bet for me and the clients. We took them for the whole game. It was never a sweat. OKC did exactly what I expected, what they always do. They played hard in the fourth quarter just to get the win, still blitzed them and won by 9 points in the fourth quarter, after the fourth quarter to get a 9-point victory. But end of the day, we get the cover and the easy cover that. It was never a sweat.
Sino, what'd you think of that game?
Big brother, you thought that was never a sweat when they went up by 14 points with like 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter? You didn't think that was a sweat?
Nah, I wasn't worried about it because the numbers in the pace said there's no way they was going to jump to 17.5 when they had been up the whole game at periods double digits. You know how it go. It's just like it's a sway with the numbers. The numbers were never going to work that way back to where they was going to jump that, in my opinion. And you see it ended up where the Nets made a push at the end of the game, and they've been doing it every game. They lost by 14 in the fourth quarter and still, they only lost by 9 points.
Yeah.
But I never felt it. Even when they got to 14, I wasn't worried about it.
Yeah, I agree with you on that too. I was just throwing that in the act because a lot of people be like, "Oh, it's such a sweat," but like you said, man, they were up by so much at the half. Oklahoma City Thunder, they used all the gas. I felt, but
Yeah.
that team looked real good, man. SGA, I seen he dropped down to number 2 under Jokic, for the MVP. So let's see what this team
Did
can
he?
do. Yeah, yep, they
I
released him.
Man, if that's the case, the other day I'm watching one of those sports bet networks that's on Samsung TV. I can't remember which one. Sometimes I just have it on in the background and read the ticker. So I was doing some work and I looked up and read the ticker, and they had um, SGA at minus 500 or something to win the MVP, and they had Jokic at plus 350. And I remember looking at it, I was like, man, I might need to go take Jokic to win the MVP. It's changed yet? I haven't seen it
Well,
change.
no, it's he's still at minus 550, but in the rankings, I was looking at the rankings for ESPN. They had
That's
movement,
what
but
matters.
on the books he's still minus 550 though. But it might have some slight adjustment, man. Usually when they do stuff like that, you get some value.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
agree.
Jokic's not a bad look right now. Denver's, I think, 9-2 in their last 11 games. So if they continue this run, he's definitely going to be able to make a push here. Final game, 5-star, and we talked about it. This would have been appointment TV for me if Wembanyama was in, because this was, I don't want to say a budding rivalry, but it was like a rekindled rivalry, right?
Yeah.
Between the Spurs and the Rockets. But without Victor, they just don't have the firepower to keep up. That was an easy win for the Houston Rockets. And, something we were talking about in one of the NBA chats I have is, as good as the Rockets have been this season, they have a good net rating, excellent against the spread this year. Nobody's really given them a chance to make noise in the playoffs. And I'm wondering if that's because they don't have the clear SGA, Luka Doncic, Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, like killer at the end of the game. However, if you're just a numbers guy and you don't watch the game, I think it's hard to count out these Houston Rockets. What did you see in that big victory over the Spurs?
Yeah, I've been telling guys in the Rockets Twitter that stop worrying about going to obtain KD or Booker and all of this stuff. They're like, we don't have a closer, we don't have a superstar, we don't have this, we don't have that. These guys didn't just walk in the league and were ordained superstars. Even LeBron's first 2 years, no one was thinking like this guy's gonna close and win a playoff game. You have to give these guys time to grow into these positions. They got to go through a bunch of heartache. My favorite player ever, Kobe Bryant. You know what game I remember about him more than any of the games that he
The
won
air
titles?
balls.
The 2 air balls against Utah. And you know why? I was sitting on the couch with one of my buddies, and they were laughing at, your boy sucks. Ha ha. And I said he needed all this. I said, all this is going to do is give him more drive, and he's going to build on this. Everybody has to stumble and fall, and that's because I watched the whole journey, being blessed enough to be a kid when Michael Jordan went through the league, and I watched Michael Jordan getting beat up by the Pistons and the Celtics. I watched him have to go through so much in order to overcome that to become a champion, and I felt like Kobe and most players do have. It's not that many guys who were #1 picks like Magic Johnson and just land in LA to play with the greatest player of all time, maybe Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Like, that's what I knew the Lakers was fiction shit when I read how that whole went down. How the hell you get the #1 pick, you the best team in the league, and then he played with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and James Worthy? Like, come on, man. But anyway, my whole point about speaking on that is that the Rockets fan base has to relax, man. We're ahead of schedule. Leave this group together, man. Even Cam Whitmore, let him figure it out. You're not gonna find 6'7", solid and strong like that, could shoot like that, could take over a game and become your instant offense off the bench. Just because he's getting into it with Ime Udoka, it's okay. Ime Udoka is a hard ass. Cam is a hard head. They'll figure it out. And when they do, it's going to be a great thing to see. We already have some really good players. Amen, Sagoon, and Jalen will figure it out this playoff. And it probably is going to look horrible. It's probably going to look bad. But by the end of this playoff, we'll know who we need to run the offense through when it matters the most. In these situations where it's straight situational basketball and that all of the things matter about how you execute. all of them have been boneheads. Like they've been doing dumb stuff at the end of the game. Our man is the best decision maker, but our man doesn't have confidence in the shots yet. He just doesn't have enough confidence. He wheels balls in. He's not confident in his mid range. And I think as he gets older, I see him developing and being the main guy and the guy whose the ball is in his hands at the end of the game. But as for now, they're going through Sagoon. What I don't like about Sagoon is he doesn't have a lot of lift around the basket. So he makes all these great moves, uses his footwork, but he can't finish. And if the refs aren't giving him calls, they're just gonna bully ball and take it from him at the high point because he doesn't have a lot of lift. So, and then if they foul him, he's only making 1 out of 2 in the fourth quarter. Like, let's be real. If you've been watching Sagoon, you know that he doesn't make both his free throws when it matters. He's not good at the free throw line, so that's a problem. Jalen, he's deterred from going to the basket because the refs don't give him any calls. If you've been watching the Rockets like I have the last 3 years, you know that Jalen can get to the cup and they're not giving them fouls for some reason. I don't know why. So he has to rely on shooting jumpers, and that's not going to work when it matters. So they will figure it out, but just a really bright future for them. And you're right, Spread. The numbers say that they are not going to be a pushover in the playoffs, and the reason why is because they play defense. But we know that other teams, veteran teams, don't play as lazy in the playoffs. So I think what people are saying is like the defensive intensity is going to be more revved up
Right?
on both
Yeah.
sides. And now I could throw it to Jokic to just get out the way, and he's going to figure out how to score on Sagoon. I could throw it to KD in the post. He's going to figure out how to score on Tari Eason, right? Enough times when it matters. So that's the problem that the Rockets are going to have. But the future's bright. We cashed over 15 and a half. Our men had that the first half. So we did good on that, man. And Sino did a great job of calling the blowout on this one.
Yeah, I agree with you. They just need to get some reps under there, and no matter what happens in the playoffs, I think they need to be happy for that experience. What's your thoughts,
Like he said, man, that was an easy blowout. One thing I realized about this Rockets team, you guys, and they showed it against the Spurs team without Victor. Rebounds, man. These guys can rebound. Like, for real, they've been out rebounding teams by 13 or more since the All-Star break. So just keep a look out on that.
All right, let's move to the present. We have some fun games to talk about. First game on our docket that I want to discuss is Clemson. They're heading to Virginia. Virginia catching 6.5 at home. What do you think of this one, 5-star?
Well, Virginia has been playing better of late. They just had a good victory at Wake Forest after 2 straight losses to North Carolina and Duke. And North Carolina's been playing more up to their talent of late. But before that, Virginia had won 3 straight. Down year for them. First year without their coach who's been there forever and laid the foundation, Tony Bennett. His first year without him being the head coach. So it's going to take some time for them to get that program together. And he kind of quit at a funny time to me. He didn't give them a lot of time to, prepare and recruit and things like that. But Virginia's been a solid program a long time. Clemson has not, but now Clemson is becoming a really good basketball team, man. 23-5 on the year. I'm a huge fan of their coach. He's been doing a really good job there quietly for a long time. Brad Brownwell just always runs a really smooth offense. He knows how to get and recruit guys who can put the ball in the basket, and also guys who not only can shoot the ball, but also are good at handling the rock and make good decisions on offense. And his offense is always clean and looks good. I like Clemson in this game first half. I don't know how it shakes out at the end because when I look at the past, man, Virginia's 9-1 against them, but I also know with my eyes that Clemson is way better team this year, even though the past Virginia's style is giving Clemson a lot of problems because, as I said, Clemson's always been an offensive team under Brownwell. And what Virginia does is lock you down, man, and they frustrate you because you can't run into your stuff because they're playing such solid man-to-man defense under Bennett. But now things have changed, not the same type of formula that they had before. And Clemson has just been on fire, man. They've won now 5 straight victories, 9-1 in their last 10. They beat Duke at home, which is a huge victory. Duke is the best team in the country, and they were able to handle them. Only loss in this time period was they were a 12-point favorite against Georgia Tech, but they were looking ahead to playing Duke next and playing North Carolina. They handled both of them, beat Duke by 6 points at home, beat North Carolina by 20 at home. I had them in both of those games. I really like this Clemson team. I think they'll be fired up because of the fact that they've lost so many times to Virginia in the past. So give me the better team. I'm going to go first half and the game on this one because they are 8-2 against the spread. They shoot free throws really good, and 6.5 is a really solid number in college basketball because they stop fouling usually on 7 because 6 is still a two-game. So if they inbound it, we'll just need one of their good free throw shooters to make one for us. So let's go with Clemson both ways, -3.5 and -6.5 on the road.
Sino, what do you think? You're going to back Clemson with the tape or Virginia with the trends?
Hey, I'm backing my big brother. He just broke that one down so well. And the Tigers, they outscored Virginia with 12 and a half more points than they allow. Collision course, man, automatic, both sides. Let's go. Clemson first half in game. I'm with you, Five.
Let's do it.
Arizona traveling to take on Iowa State. Iowa State laying 4.5 at home. What do you think of this one, 5-star?
Earlier, these two teams met. Hakeem and I both took Iowa State. We were riding Iowa State for a long period before they got injured. They're dealing with some real crucial injuries right now. As Keyshawn Gilbert, who transferred from UNLV to Iowa State, going with his coach Otzelberger, and he's the best player there. And he was been hurt lately, man, dealing with some injury or something like that. And whatever he's dealing with, man, it's made this team not play well. But early in the year, he was still there. And when they went to Arizona, it was like a +1. And we was like, oh, we're going with Keyshawn Gilbert, man. We're going with him for sure. Like, we know that they're going to get it done. They beat Arizona, man, the whole game. And they were getting like 4 points. Caleb Love hits like 4 threes at the end of the game. Every time they keep fouling, they're making their free throws. But these threes he's making is making it 1 point less, 1 point less. So finally they get the ball with no time left, like 2 seconds, man. Caleb Love gets it. I don't know if they're going to foul or not. They're going to have to heave it so they don't foul, which I probably wouldn't have either. This guy banks it off the glass, man, and makes like a 50-foot three-pointer at the buzzer, go to overtime. Now Iowa State's holding their head. Arizona goes crazy, beats them by 11 points. Covered them. I'm sick. So I don't like this game just simply because of that last experience that I had with it. I'm not a pain freak. If a team does something like that to me, I usually just wipe them off the board for the whole season. I think that's what I'm going to do in this one. It's a strange number because it seems like with Iowa State being 14-1 at home, that's a real short number against a team in Arizona that's not that good on the road. They're not bad. They're 6-3, but when you look at it, they lost to some really underserving teams on the road. Kansas State, that's not a good loss on the road. But overall, I'm going to stay away from this game because of the injuries. Keyshawn Gilbert might not play. They just got back Curtis Jones to the team recently. But even with that said, it's just a funny number to me. It's a stay away from me. But it's going to be a good game.
Sino, you getting involved in this one?
I don't know, man. Both of these teams, they definitely have history. And Arizona, the last game, they put off that stun at home. Like he said, Caleb Love was just draining threes like crazy. And Iowa State, they came into the season with big expectations, right? Tough defense, the whole package. And they lost early in the season, and they stumbled a couple times to teams like Auburn and West Virginia. And they still a force, I believe. But I don't know. The line kind of funny in this situation. So I'm with 5-star. Whoever, put it like this. Whoever loses the first half, just take them second half.
Yeah, that's a good approach.
That's a good call. All right, let's talk about Texas Tech. They're going to be traveling. They're going to take on the Jayhawks, another short home favorite. 5-star, who do we like in this one?
On this game, honestly, I think that Texas Tech is a better team than Kansas. Now, I don't know if Kansas is going to get a home whistle in this one or not. They really need this game because Kansas isn't a shoe-in this year to go into the tournament like in the past. A down year for Bill Self. As I told you, I think that the team is suffering from the fact that he had to go through those surgeries that he went through in the offseason to prepare for this year. And he wasn't, in camp like he usually is, recovering and things like that. But they do have a solid team. A lot of transfers this year. They did not do their normal approach to their system, which is, going to recruit diaper dandies and really good players. They did the transfer route. And I think that that's very hard to just think that great players from other places could just mesh quickly. Like A.J. Storr came over from Wisconsin. They also brought the kid over from Alabama, who was a really good player at Alabama, but he does not look as good over at Kansas. They still You have the big man Dickerson from Michigan. He had a really good game on the road against Colorado, but he has not been consistent all year. Now you look on the other side, you got Texas Tech with their new coach and their new way of doing things. They got a kid, Toppin, who you can always bet to go over, and that's probably what I'll just ride on this one. With the number being so short, Texas Tech could probably money line them, honestly, because Texas Tech is a really good team. They just can't beat Houston, and a lot of teams can't beat Houston, but they're solid. And by the line makers only giving up 3.5 on the road at a really tough place like Lawrence, Kansas, that's forever, for many years, been one of the hardest places in college basketball to go to and win. It's just surprising to me. So the books know that Texas Tech is a really good team as well. I'm just going to bet on Toppin going over his points. It should be like 12.5. It's been between 12.5 to 15.5. Anything like that, I feel like is a good play. He's been really solid, and he's been putting up numbers. And that offense is created where he gets a lot of looks on pick and rolls, and if not, he's really good at offensive rebounding and getting to the line. So I just think that JT Toppin just continues doing what he's been doing. The last time these teams met each other, Texas Tech won by 29 points. But before that, it had been controlled by Kansas. But as I said, man, Texas Tech is a good team, and I just think that I'm going to just keep riding Toppin, man. He went for 14 points against University of Houston, so he went over his number at 12.5. Before they went for 22, 14, 32. He's been going off. I think that if you can find that 12.5, which I think it's going to be, you'll be good. So go with JT Toppin and go over his points.
Sino, you getting involved in this game?
Definitely. Hunter Dickerson, man, he hot right now. And I don't know, 5-star. Texas Tech always have trouble in Allen Fieldhouse. Their record is 1-22 there. What's gonna change tomorrow?
Right.
Yeah, I'm just like I said, I'm just trying to see. And Texas Tech can't kill these people. They can definitely win the game. Turnovers, simple as that. As every game, like we talk about, come down to turnovers. If they could play some good defense and get the ball, limit them to some possessions, we'd be good.
Talk about Alabama. They're traveling to take on Tennessee. Once again, short home favorite. Sensing a trend here this Saturday. What are your thoughts on this one, 5-star?
I'm riding with Tennessee on this one. Tennessee is a grown-ass man team, and Alabama does have some good players, but their older players on their team are mostly guards. You know, you got the wonderful player in Mark Sears in the backcourt. Seemed like he's been starting there forever, man. He burning up the nets, can shoot threes, left-handed kid. Sears plays a little bit like Brunson. You see the left-handed, the kind of strong body, but he isn't as nifty as Brunson is in the paint area, but the same left-handed stroke. Alabama is a deep team. They like to get up and down the court. They like to run, but down low, man, their best player is Grant Nelson, and even though he's 6'11", he's a finesse player. He's light in the ass, and you look at Tennessee. Tennessee is going to attack that offensive board. They're going to run their offense, and they're going to be efficient. That's just what they do. They shoot the three better than a lot of teams. A lot of really good players that can stretch you out, starting with Shaz Lanier, who's really a good player. I think he's going to end up being an NBA player. But everything runs through Zakai Ziegler. Zakai Ziegler is just a coach on the court, lightning bug. If he's available and he's not hurt, you're going to get a really strong defensive effort because he's going to pick you up, 4 to 8 feet and really give your ball handlers trouble. Tennessee's had a lot of success recently against Alabama. I think they won 3 straight against them now. Home game. This is a big SEC game. And as I said, out of all of the heavyweights, I think that Alabama is the one I consider more of a fraud than everybody else. I do think that they're a good team. I think that they can light you up at any time. Always a bet to go over. They went over on 5 of their last 6 games. But I think that Tennessee just is a more solid team, has a more solid starting 5. And that, combined with them being at home, I'm going to take Tennessee -3.
Sino, how are you approaching this one?
And just how 5-star is. Great breakdown right there. And Alabama never go to Knoxville and win. I was looking at it. Their last win was in 2015. They 5-18 all time. Like he said, Tennessee, Zach Ziegler, great playmaking ability, man. Elite defense also, man. Holding opponents to 60.5 points per game. That's the best in the SEC that I'm looking at. Yeah, man, Tennessee all the way. Let's go.
All right, last game here. Let's talk about Auburn, who's traveling to take on Kentucky. Kentucky not as good this year. as evidenced by the fact that they're catching 5.5 at home. To be fair, Auburn is really, really good. But still, casual fan of me goes, oh, wow, Kentucky catching points again. Why is that happening, 5-star, and where are you going with this game?
Kentucky always plays Auburn really good spread. They're now won 3 of the last 4 against them. Really good scoring team in Kentucky. They don't play a lot of defense. They will outscore you. Mark Pope bringing his BYU style back to the Bluegrass State where he won a national championship under Rick Pitino. I think that Kentucky can stay with Auburn. They're not going to fear them. They have their main guys back. That's in point guard Lamont Butler. He's back. They were missing him dearly because he's a guy that plays defense and really leads that team. Veteran, played in the national championship game at San Diego State. I don't know if you guys remember or not. He took the last shot and it went off the rim, and they came up just short of winning the national championship. But also, Mark Pope brought with him Jackson Robinson. Jackson Robinson is a good player, has a SGA type of game, plays a lot like SGA. He can get to his spots, can find his way. He only had 7 points in the past contest because it was his first game back, but he's a guy that's going to play a lot better than we saw him play against Oklahoma. As I said, now the backcourt is back, and then they still have guys like Kobe Brea that transferred over from Dayton, who's a lockdown defender and also can shoot the three at a really high clip. He's going to get his shots. Auburn, just too many points, man, to be on the road against a team that's going to be really hyped. We know that Kentucky fan base is going to be wired up to be facing this Auburn team. I could see it landing right on the 5 or so, with maybe like Auburn hitting a couple free throws after Kentucky misses a 3 to try to tie the game, and we land right on the 5. I just don't see Kentucky being afraid of this team. I think that they're going to be really hyped. Good home team, 14-2. Auburn is 17-1 away from the crib, but I see some holes in the defense for Auburn. I think that they do give up points to efficient teams, and Kentucky is one of those teams with a really good offensive game plan. They got a kid over there, Owea. Every game he shows up to me. He jumps off the film. He always gets it done. Really good player. So Kentucky puts a good fight in. I think that they cover at home. Give me Kentucky plus 5.5.
What do you think, Sino? Are you on the Wildcats?
I don't know, man. It's kind of hard to fade a top-ranked Ken Palm squad. Auburn #1 on offense and they #2 on defense. But Kentucky, they have explosive offense, like 5-star was saying, man. They averaging 88.3 points per game, second in the SEC. Jesus Christ, that's hard. And with Lamont Butler back, hopefully he stay out of foul trouble. They definitely could do something. But Denver Jones, man, he probably could exploit the backcourt for Kentucky. So I don't know, man. A lot of defense in this game. I lean the under.
All right, you're on the under here. Let's move to the National Basketball Association. Originally, we thought this was going to be a showdown, but these two teams play back-to-back. And so it looks like the Lakers have decided to sit out tonight. Now, we don't have the official word, but that's what this line is telling me as it moved from +1 to +5.5. Officially on the injury report right now. They're expected to be in. That's interesting that the line moved like that. I don't think Luka's going to play. I don't think Vanderbilt's going to play, and I don't think Brewy's going to play. So I'm not going to play this game. 5-star, did you have any insights for this one, or should we just wait till Sunday when these teams are at full strength?
Yeah, most likely that's what it's going to be. I mean, we look at, as you said, we don't really know the approach. And that's what makes it so difficult. You see, we're talking about college basketball on Saturday. We know everybody's going to play.
Yeah,
right.
We know the line.
And this game starts in 6 hours, and we still have no idea what we're doing.
The NBA needs to get its stuff together, man. It's so difficult.
They don't respect the fans.
They don't respect the fan, and they sure don't respect the bettor. You would think by now, with all of the deals that their commissioner has with all of these sports books and casinos around the country, that it would be understood that, hey, we're going to look out for the bettors, and we're going to have a for sure lineup out for you by this time, and they still haven't done it. It almost makes you feel like they're working with the books to make you lose, right?
For real, right? Sponsorships already.
No, man, they be treating their customers like crack dealers do, but the difference is their product ain't addictive like crack, so they don't have the same retention. Sino, I'm just gonna wait till Sunday. I'm not getting involved in this game. What do you think about it?
I ain't betting this game. If I do, I'll wait till each team just starts scoring like crazy, and I just bet the under somewhere live. To be honest, that'd be it. Like it's no need to bet.
Yeah, get little 7, 8, 9 points off the closing line at 219. So
let's break it down like this, fellas. So Sunday, everybody knows it's gonna be a primetime game. Am I right?
I'm pretty sure it's the 12 o'clock. I will double check. 12 o'clock for us, 3 o'clock on the East Coast.
Gotta be out there.
Sunday, Lakers and Clippers play at 9:30, so it's the Sunday night ESPN game.
Oh, it's a nighttime. Okay, that's
it's
good.
Night, either TNT or ESPN on a Sunday night. So we're going to just say, just for future references, full strength Clippers, full strength Lakers. Who you got, Spread?
Man, normally I would take the Clippers here, but with this new iteration of the Lakers, I don't really know what to do here.
They take a deep breath.
Yeah, I mean, I hate to do it. I'd probably take the Lakers, and I would feel disgusted when I place the bet. What do you think, Sino?
Revenge spot. Clippers definitely gonna be looking to beat this team, and they want them at full strength. So tonight, I feel that both teams are lollygag down the court. Save some energy, but come on prime time when everybody's watching. I think the Clippers get the win. They upset Quad's back. They just need something to talk about, man.
All right, let's move on. It's Ball and Parlay time. The People's segment. Sino, start with you. What's your play for everybody? We talked about it before the show started. I already know where you're going.
Man, I already gave it out to you listening a little bit earlier. Look, it's tough to bet against the Detroit Pistons right now. They're absolutely rolling. They undefeated since the All-Star break. How could we go against that? And like I said, they want to show that they can beat and contend against championship teams. Moneyline the Boston Celtics, last year championship winners, running MVP, Jokic and the Denver Nuggets, championship team. Same thing tonight. And I'm looking at the line right now. They're plus 1.5, even better for us. So that's what we're rolling with tonight. Another max bet from Sino. Let's try to make it 2 in a row. The Detroit Pistons plus 1.5.
Sino, I got to agree with you there. And I think a key factor in my handicap was the game that the Nuggets played against the Bucks last night. I told you I had eyes on that one. That was my must-see TV game. And that was a physical game. And really, Milwaukee really impressed me with their size and their ability to compete in the paint. A lot of times I think that wears these guys down, the physical, the jostling underneath, more than running up and down the court. So I think this is also a fatigue spot for the Nuggets. I agree with you on the Pistons. I'm going to go, and this is weird because normally I would zigzag here. We saw the Pelicans get the upset win over the Phoenix Suns last night, but I'm just fading this Phoenix team, man. I have no idea what's going on in that locker room. Sino, I told you before the show, I think that there's probably some resentment towards Beal where they didn't want him there, but he refused to trade the contract, and it just feels like they're in a hopeless situation. So the Pelicans beat them money line last night by 8 points, 124 to 116. Now they're catching 9 again. Now I know their players are sitting, but I'm just going to continue to fade Phoenix. Phoenix probably bounce back and get the win. Are they going to win by double digits? This version of the team? No, I don't buy it. I'm taking the Pelicans plus 9. 5-star, what do you got for your ball and parlay?
For my ball and parlay, I'm going to roll with old Stefano Tsitsipas. I think that he's turned the corner. I think that FAA is also playing a lot better than he has in the past. Two guys that are very similar. They had a lot of people who believed in them early. They made a lot of noise on tour as youngsters, upset a lot of people, won some master tournaments, won some 500s. So you know that they can play, but they were dealing with success. And, you get to that age where now it's the first time you're really having money and the first time you're really having girls flock to you. How are you going to deal with it? Now both of them are coming back. Tsitsipas was going through some family stuff, some stuff with his girl. He did some things that made me look at him skeptically, because at first I really liked him as a kid. He beat Djokovic. A long time ago, I was rooting for him, man. He beat Djokovic, and I was like, look at this great kid. He's so happy, right on the camera, drawing smiley faces. And then he just started acting like a real brat, at one point. Started talking crazy to his box when he's not playing well. He had poor little Bedosa about to cry every time she's playing tennis. She couldn't focus or anything because he was doing so bad with himself mentally that he was dragging her down, and you could tell. But now they both seem to be at a good place. They got back together. She's playing well, and he recently said something that was impressive. He said that Bedosa is starting to inspire him to play better, and I think he saw her playing well now. And he's like, wait a second, man, I'm a top 5 player. I've been playing like a bum. I'm blaming everybody. I'm blaming my dad, who's done nothing but love me since day one and put me in position to be here. So I think the Sissy Pass did a self-care check last year, and now he's got himself back together. And he's going to want this one really bad. He beat some really good players to get to this position. And I think when he looks at FAA, he thinks that I can beat this guy. He's beat him the last 2 times. FAA has beat him also, but I just think that Sissy Pass is a better all-around player than FAA is. I think that he does a better job at breaking opponents. So we're going to roll with Sissy Pass on a comeback tour, and that he gets it done at a minus 140, or fortunate enough later to get to this before the show. I will be playing Kirsty against Kessler. Kirsty at plus money against McCarthy Kessler, who's a solid player. She's young and up and coming, but anytime I can get a bet with a plus 110, plus 130 range that's playing good like Kirsty is right now, then I'm going to ride with Kirsty. Kirsty's a good hardcore player. McCarthy Kessler is good. She has a lot of heart. She's real feisty. She's going to fight to the end, but I don't think that she's the shot maker that Kirsty is. And as I said, Kirsty's beating some really tough girls lately. So we're going to go with this evening, if you can catch it, if it's up in enough time. Kirsty, she's playing in Austin against McCarthy Kessler, the American. We're going to go with the vet. And then we also running for sure big bet on Sissy Pass to win Dubai tomorrow morning against FAA. Another week of the Wagering World is down. We hope you guys are able to get in here and get these plays for Saturday. We are moving into college basketball. You know, the show always started as a college football show first, and now it's college basketball. So the thing about college basketball is good is that the next day the lines are up. The NBA is so shady and janky. We can only do that day, and I don't want you guys to miss the play. So we didn't hit a lot of NBA because of the weekend, but I'm sure the Sino and Spread both will be sending out plays via their X. Anything for the people before we get out of here, Sino?
Nah, man, appreciate the Wagering World population, man. We do all this for y'all. It's us versus the machine. Let's get some wins today. Detroit Pistons, let's go.
What you got for the people, Spread, before we get out of here?
Man, the football season's over, but the wagering's not. So we're happy that you guys stuck with us. You're still on here. I know we got a lot of football knowledge, but we still rock this whole time too. We knock out NBA. We knock out college basketball. We knock out tennis. And even Sino was mentioning another sport starting pretty soon that I know he does pretty well at. That's right. They'll be back on the diamond. And, of course, we'll be talking about some Major League Baseball. So we appreciate everyone sticking with us until the football season starts back up in August.
Man, I'm hype about the baseball season after seeing Cam Smith for the Astros. He's looking like Juan Soto at the play.
Yeah, right.
We might got a new one in Houston, man. Watch for Cam Smith, man. And you know the great thing about sports in these cities is when it's one young player in a major sport, it kind of makes the other young players in the major sports in that city step their game up. And I'm sure he's watching C.J. Stroud. I'm sure he's watching Amin Thompson and Jalen Green. Jalen got the national spots with Wingstop now. I know that this kid is watching and it's like, yeah, I'm about to shine. So look for Cam Smith, Houston Astros, to have a big year. I will not be surprised at all if he's right there for the Rookie of the Year at the end of the season. As always, I dedicate this show to the greatest Houston sports fan I know, and that's my father, John H. Lindsay. Tough around this time, man, because in March is when I lost him, but I do this for you, Dad, and we're going to continue to keep grinding. We're going to keep representing you the correct way here on the Wagering World. You guys go to www.thewageringworld.com. You can interact with myself, with Spread, with Sino. All you have to do, send us an email. Or if not, DM these guys, DM myself. We love to consult. We love to talk sports. We don't always have time for you in the Wagering World. You guys go get something like this merch right here. It's just us versus the machine, hoodie and cap. And you also have all of our other great sayings like oatmeal beats no meal, like the underground and the underdogs, and also the Wagering World logo, hoodie and caps. You guys go check it out right now. That's www.thewageringworld.com. We'll see you guys on Monday.